Joe Velagio, staffer for Robin Bullock, died in his office. Called into a surprise meeting on Friday afternoon. About 30 minutes into the meeting, he was deceased. He was gone. It is my personal opinion that had not that meeting been called, had he not been in the presence of Robin Bullock, had not that happened, I don't think that he would have passed away on the 14th of March. That's my opinion. I'm extremely entitled to it, Dustin, but bring it on, brother. Bring it on, because I'm pretty confident in the First Amendment and so forth. And I'm going to play you a piece of video that was recorded yesterday. Now, we had a loved one that I had to take to the emergency room yesterday. They are fine. Everything's good, but it kind of put a little squeeze on the events of yesterday. Nonetheless, without detracting from some emergency responsibilities that were put on my plate, I was able to take about 5 minutes and make a follow-up phone call. Now, what was the follow-up phone call? The follow-up phone call was the fact that on Friday, the 13th of March, 2026, Steve Schultz's office at Elijah Streams received a very tasteful, well-crafted letter that outlined concerns about the death of Joe Velagio, and had Steve been told the truth about it, or had it even been mentioned. And I pointed out that it was on his program on the 17th of April that the beginning of the narration, or the narrative that were in the times of Ananias and Sapphira, were repeated on Steve Schultz's program. I included the 6-page copy of the coroner's report. So you look at the address of where the death took place and the address of Robin Bullock. It ain't a mystery no more. And I politely asked to be followed up with by phone or by email. Well, neither had happened in the 7 days. And yeah, I feel like that needs to be followed up on. And somebody said, well, he's really, really busy. I'm really, really busy. You're really, really, really busy. But let me ask you, you out there that are really, really, really busy, how many coroner's reports were sent to you last week through very expensive means of shipping? And I mean that, very expensive, that have the highest percentages of someone actually being able to see it. How many coroner's reports did you get in the mail last week? I'm guessing like zero, zip, nada. That kind of ratchets it up. Like, this is kind of a unique piece of mail. And then when it pertains to your number one guest that you like to bring on, that ratchets it up even a little bit further. And then it tastefully, the letter, and succinctly, I don't expect somebody to read like volumes and volumes of stuff, but of the Kabbalah concerns, the Adam sits on Jesus, or Jesus sits on Adam's throne, and just laid it out. I didn't hear anything. So without further ado, I'm going to play at least a piece of the phone call that I made. Now, I apologize. There was a problem with the transfer software that we used to go from iPhone to the system. So running out of time, I just took the camera over the iPhone. So it looks weird. Doesn't matter. You can hear it, and I'm going to play part of it. I just want to demonstrate that we sent this info to Steve Schultz at Elijah Streams, and we gave, I think, very adequate time for some kind of a response. And this was the way that I spoke with him yesterday.
Calling Steve.
Elijah Streams, this is Bullock. Can I help you?
Yes, I am trying to leave a message for Steve.
Okay. The best way to do that is through info@ElijahStreams.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to ask if you can take a brief note and make sure that it gets to him, please. My name is Everganyu. Last Friday, he received a correspondence. It contained the coroner's report of Joe Velagio, the staffer who died in Robin Bullock's office last March on the 14th. So there was some other information in there, but this is pretty serious stuff. I requested that Steve actually respond. And so I'm just going to give you a phone number, which he already has, but I'm respectfully but expectantly asking for communication back. I don't think too many people sent him a coroner's report of the guy that died in one of his often repeated guests' office, and I don't think he's been told the truth about that. So here's my name is Everett. The last name is spelled Gagnon. He can reach me at 6.
Okay.
And I'm just asking if he's been told.
I just decided to talk fast.
Of Joe Velagio that died in Robin Bullock's office. That's my message. I'd like him to get back with me.
Okay, I will send that over to our team, and that's okay.
Please make sure he gets that. I want to be respectful. I don't want to be a pest, but I mean, I don't think that's asking too much. I don't think too many people sent him a coroner's report of the man that died. I believe Robin's going to be on today. Steve doesn't have that many people on that have staffers die in their office, and then 2 weeks later he's talking about Ananias and Sapphira. Joe was not Ananias and Sapphira, so I won't go on and on and on. But I'm saying, ma'am, I am expecting you to make sure that note gets to Steve Schultz. Okay, is that fair enough?
Well, I can send it over to the team, but I don't. Has to go through the process of getting to a.
Well, I understand that. Tell the team that we are watching his response. This is pretty serious. If somebody died in the office you work in, I would think that you guys would tell the truth about it. So please don't. I'm just saying respectfully. Please don't blow this under. Sweep it under. Please follow up and have the people above you follow up. That's being more than reasonable. It's a very reasonable request. And this is coming from a donor. So please follow up and give it the respect that it deserves. Fair enough? All right. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Everett.
I'm sure she's an extreme, and she was very, very, very sweet. This is not anything to do with the lady that answered the phone. And you may say, I think that you were, I don't know, whatever. If I wasn't as polite or dainty or as soft as I could be, folks, I'm sorry. I'm the one that's doing this. I didn't ask for this. I don't know. And I'm not complaining, but if I'm doing it, that's the way I do it. I'm sorry. I saw in a comment somewhere said, you guys should tell you and Pastor Johnson in the chat. Thank you, Pastor John. You really helped me. Pastor John helped me stay awake. I was ready to fall asleep from that whole thing 2 days ago. But anyway, we were pretty calm. And they said, you could take a lesson from Mike Winger about, I don't know, not mocking or laughing. Folks, this is the people that are doing this. And I respectfully replied to that person and said, I really look forward to you starting your podcast. And then you can do it the Mike Winger way. And besides that, there was a heavy amount of Mike Winger, softer, gentler, diplomatic influence on that. Because if I know Pastor John and I know me, if we'd have wanted to tear into and rip and really get into fun and mock mode, we didn't even get started. So folks, we're doing the work that we have to do. So I want to keep it going. I believe that's warranted. I'm just going to, this will not be a brief. I won't claim that this will be a brief live, but I got a text from a friend who's right before the program said, I don't think Steve's got your message yet. Go easy, bro. Go easy. This is not going easy. It's not going hard. It's just doing it. Steve Schultz, why didn't you get back to me? Why isn't it important that when you get a coroner's report, that one of your top guests who had the Monday spot for 2.5 years, who you do events with, who you are slated to go to Israel with, when you find out and you're looking at it, somebody died in his office, maybe you think I'm nuts. That's fine. Maybe you think I'm crazy. That's fine. But you could at least call and say, hey, I think you're probably crazy, but tell me what we're working with here. And I'll say something else. If Steve Schultz had emailed, and I knew it was an email and not just, somebody pretending to be Steve, or gotten a phone call and said, listen, obviously the idea of this is serious, but I don't know you from Adam. That's kind of funny under the circumstances. Sorry, I don't know you. So please give me a week or so to just kind of connect some dots and verify and make sure I agree that it's serious, but you would understand that I got to do some due diligence. You know what I would have said? Absolutely. I understand. Welcome to our world, Steve, because we hear all kind of things that we have to do due diligence on. because we don't just pipe off at the, see, here's something that we do, Steve. We vet the information that we present. Pastor John does, Vanessa does, Lynn, Gospel of Narc does, Pastor Ray with the unction does, Laura Lynn does, Elizabeth Davis does, Dr. James White, all of these guys, all of them do this. All of them do this. So I understand that, but I didn't get nothing. And so if I'm the voice of the nobody, the little body, the nobody, which I am, but I'm the nobody that sent you a coroner's report, something very credible, and you blew it off. So I think I'm in pretty solid standing by saying the behavioral position of Elijah Streams is, you little people, we don't listen to you. Yeah, you're right. I didn't have nothing to do with your $18 million Form 990 in 2023. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, Steve, yes, I did. And it wasn't $10 here and $20 there. So there. But I give as unto the Lord. And so do a lot of people. Let's keep rolling. So yesterday, Robin was on with Steve, and there were so many different things. Before I play a clip, and I still do blame Garrett for the fact that this that this live stream exists. And the reason that I tuned in for about a minute and I go, oh, I've heard this one before, because it was the airplane going down behind the garage story. He's told that like a gazillion times. And sure enough, for a big portion of yesterday, come to find out that it was a Robin Bullock's greatest hits. But then he got into some other stuff. But he told about these mystical childhood stories and how poor they were. And I just did some kind of searching, and I just want to point out, this is kind of one of the, psychologically, what those same old stories and rags to riches stories are doing. And then we're going to get into some video here, but the origin myth creation, this is how a figure establishes, quote, I was chosen early before anyone else saw it. You know, Joseph Z does the same thing. A lot of people do that. It does three things. Number one, it legitimizes authority. Number two, it makes the calling of the propheticness feel inevitable, and it places them outside normal evaluation. It's preemptive defense against critics. When he says, they thought I was lying. See, they thought he was lying about the airplane that went down behind the garage. People won't believe this. He's doing something very subtle. He frames future critics as the same people who doubted him as a child. So now, if you question Robin Bullock, you are one of those people. You see what he's doing there before he ever gets to the other stuff? It's an innocent shield. The childhood stories create emotional disarmament. He's just sharing what happened, and it makes the audience lower discernment. The rags to riches or poverty equals favor pattern story. In this episode, extreme poverty, no food, miracles begin. Financial breakthrough stories happen. And the logic becomes, nobody that's escaped that level of poverty, or nobody can do that unless God is really with them. And especially the transactional faith reinforcement. He gave his last $11, but he received $100. No money, God provides, reinforces. If you follow this pattern, God will do it for you too. And it's an authority through survival. I made it. Boy, you hear elements of that in Rod Parsley's fake story about growing up in Eastern Kentucky, which he wasn't born in Eastern Kentucky, and he didn't grow up in Eastern Kentucky, but you hear him say that. You hear Darlene Bishop. This is a really common kind of like Loretta Lynn, coal miner's daughter, except I turned into a big-time prosperity preacher. It's a common thing, and people subconsciously think, if he came out of all that, he must be real. Now, folks, I've made the decision, and I'm going to get into some clips here, but I'm going to try to tell you what I'm talking about, because see, this personal experience, these personal miracle anecdotes, and God said, and then I said to God, and God said, and he goes, and I go, and then I go, hey, God, and he goes, stop it. And you can't refute it. You can't say, well, God didn't, because you weren't there. But as they utilize this technique, what God says becomes on par with the Word of God.